Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast, episode number 433. It is a fine Wednesday evening here in central Kentucky, where I, Stephen Zimmer, am broadcasting from. And tonight we've got one heck of a show for you. Really looking forward to this one. Yes, it is. It's one we had to postpone for a couple of weeks, but we'll get into that more later. And just shortly, the wonderful, the vivacious, the loquacious Holly Phillippe should be checking in with me to sit in the co-hosting chair. So I think she's probably getting set up right at the moment. So without further ado, of course, I'm going to go ahead and get you caught up to date on all things Imaginarium, because the Star Chamber Show, of course, is a podcast affiliated with the Imaginarium Convention, where your imagination is the foundation. That's right. Yeah, every week we have a lot of activity going on, and the past week has definitely been no exception. No exception at all, believe me. So last week we did give you the scoop, but we promised we'd announce them again. But the wonderful Hugo-nominated author Arlen Andrews Sr. was announced as a spotlighted guest. Yeah, amazing guy, founder of Sigma, which is a science fiction think tank that provides pro bono futurism for the federal government. And among his many published works, he's been published over 500 times in more than 100 various venues around the world, and also has appeared as a guest on shows such as Ancient Aliens. But Arlen is a great guy, and he's also in our 2025 inductee class of the new Imagination Hall of Fame. So he was announced as one of our spotlighted guests, and then also announced today as a spotlighted guest is the amazing award-winning author, filmmaker, screenwriter, podcaster, and playwright. I will get that correct in a second. Amy Lee McCorkle. Yes, the mighty McCorkle herself. And I'm telling you, just go by the numbers. I mean, she's a 15-time Amazon Top 100 bestseller. She's been published over 30 times and has directed over 40 films. Also is the host of the Recovery Unplugged podcast, and currently has some great projects in the works. Recently signed a 2-picture deal with Fish for Him Entertainment, and is also partnering with NAMI of Louisville on a documentary called Hope Reimagined, One Woman's Journey Overcoming Stigma. So yes, Amy is a real go-getter, and definitely a story of someone who really perseveres and is just relentless on the indie creative quest. And we're definitely always very honored to have her join us at Imaginarium. And then also coming as a spotlighted guest and another Imaginarium favorite is author, graphic designer, musician, cosplayer, and artist Jennifer Naran. And yeah, Jennifer is awesome. She does go by other names, so I will have to give you those as well. Captain Medea Ashera, of course, the airship Caduceus, steampunk airship cosplay group. They're awesome. And also she's the Queen Bee of Queen City Steam, which is awesome. It's a new group that's going to be doing events in the tri-state area. It's a brand new venture throughout Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio. And she is just amazing talent as a graphic designer, artist, and yes, and also an author. And I believe she has a new book coming out pretty soon, and that will be part of her presentation, I'm sure, in 2025. And we're very excited to have her joining us. And then also coming, we do have a group of panelists as well to announce, and a couple of new faces and a couple of faces that you will know well. One is author, journalist Dave Creek, a fantastic author of science fiction, and also joining us for the first time, author, screenwriter, actor, and journalist Terry Chambers. Both are going to be official panelists in 2025. And then we also proudly welcome author Elizabeth Broadbent for the very first time. Super talented horror author, and definitely very excited to have her. And then one of somebody that is near and dear to Holly and myself, author, artist, graphic designer, podcaster, comic creator, Sako Toomey. And yes, she is amazing. And of course, she has a great podcast with Moon D.L. Hearn that's you can catch on YouTube, and just absolutely great talent. And we're really excited, of course, to have Sako back. She gave a great belly dance performance actually at our last awards ceremony. It was really well done, and really enjoyed that. It was really good. And so yeah, we got a whole lot of things happening at Imaginarium. Whole lot of things in the works. I'm talking to some pretty major new guests that I hope to be able to announce soon. And of course, I do want to keep you up to date. We should be making the Imagine Awards nominations available very shortly. Those will be coming on very soon, and those will be open. And then we also will have the awards banquet dinner tickets made available for sale very shortly as well. And so those things are going to be opening up. And looks like Holly is now connected. So let's bring Holly in. Hey, Holly,
Yeah, I'm here.
there you are. Yeah, I'm here. You should.
Sorry. I was in the shower and I lost a little track of time and I was like, "Oh no, I hope he doesn't go through all the announcements cuz I wanted to just mention a couple workshops I got down."
Well, mention them, and but first, I do want to make an announcement that's really exciting, which I'm super happy about, folks. Thanks to Holly's mother recovering much better than usual, she got full medical
Yeah.
clearance today, and so Holly is coming home tomorrow. I'm going up to pick her up in Indiana, and I'll be driving her back home, and I am so looking forward to it. It's been 2 months. That has been quite the trial, folks, and yeah, both of our ends. Even more so for Holly because she's been doing full time healthcare for her mom, and that's, believe me, if you've done that, not easy, especially for a 90-year-old. So yeah, well done, Holly, and yeah, it's not been the easiest 2 months over here. So yeah, finally we get to
Yeah.
join forces again back in Lexington, and it's wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Holly tomorrow.
But
So
I've got to
yes,
make. But what's so funny is because this is the lovely month of October, my favorite time of year. So I do got to come back on the 23rd though, because the little granddaughters, it's their grandparents' day at school. So I've got to come to that. I promised because I thought I would still be here. So I'm just going to come up for a day and come back. And then, of course, got to come back for Halloweeny because, well, I take the little ones trick or treating. I'm definitely not going to miss trick or treating. Stephen knows how
no,
passionate I am about trick or treating.
that's true. But she'll be back the rest of the time, and I can't wait because she's gonna be
Yes.
joining me. She's gonna be coming back in time to join me. I've got 4 author appearances coming up. First one is October 26th. That's at the great Fabled Forest Books in Georgetown, Kentucky, and Holly will be here in time for that. Also, November 2nd, I'm going to From the Ground Up Books in Shepherdsville, owned by the great Lynn Tincher. Yeah, Bobby Craig is the owner of Fabled Forest. Shout out to both of them. And then next on the list is November the 9th, when I will be doing a Books and Bourbon event at Kroger Wine and Spirits in Lexington, Kentucky on the Boston Road location. And then rounding things out on November 16th, I will be at the Bullitt County Authors Fair up in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, and I'll be participating in a panel giving an overview of indie publishing and, of course, participating in the book fair itself. And I will have 33 titles available. All 33 of my print titles I will have available, including a brand new one, which will be announced tomorrow. You're getting the scoop tonight. Called Embrace of the Sun, a new novella out that will be out in print and ebook. And we got it moved up just in time for these events. And so that will be coming out and will be announced tomorrow. And I'll be doing a cover reveal and all that kind of fun stuff. But beautiful cover. Olivia Pro Design did this one. She does all the Ragnar Stormbringer and Raiden Valkyrie books of mine. I really like working with her, and she really did a great job. And this was originally actually a novella that was in the Enchanted Realms ebook anthology from Jumpmaster Press that was out in 2023. But I've got it coming out again as a single release in print and ebook tomorrow, and along with a cover reveal. So I'll be getting that info out, and then I'll be heading the road to go get Holly. So it's gonna be an adventure, and I'm excited about that. So yeah.
I'll,
So
I'll
go.
drive home so you don't have to drive all the way back. I'll
No,
drive home.
I'll drive
You
you.
come get me and I'll drive.
And you never know. I might even stop at Popeyes up there in Aurora, Indiana, to get you a chicken sandwich. Popeyes chicken sandwich on the way home. I have to
Yay!
tell you so you can expect it, so you don't eat before I get you
Well,
to.
yeah, that's true because I only eat like once a day. So
Yeah.
today I will say that me and mom, we had to do a lot of running and I did a lot of work today, but um, we stopped at Fresh's and I don't know. I don't think they have Freshest all over the country, but oh man, they got these sandwiches called the Big Boys, and Freshest makes like homemade tartar sauce, which it sounds bizarro, but their tartar sauce they put on their Big Boy sandwiches, and they are so freaking good. Oh my god! So I did get a double
Nice.
breakfast sandwich. So
And shout out to the chat room. Looks like I'm looking at Carol Preflatish. I see the amazing Sandy Lender. I hope you're holding up well down there in Florida. I know this is definitely not the most fun of evenings or times where you are. So I'm glad to see that you got an internet connection. So that's, I
yes,
guess,
doing good.
somewhat promising. But yeah, definitely we have been thinking of you constantly and talking about you up here, and definitely have you at heart. Hope everything goes as well as it can down there. Got DL Hearn in the chat room as well. A lot of good folks. So make sure, yeah, if you're using the Podbean app, yeah, definitely take part in the chat room. We do take questions and comments from there. Now, before I go to the folks that brought you tonight's show, Holly, you want to quickly give us
Yes,
the
yes,
workshops?
yes. I have a couple to announce. I'm so excited. Um, Mr. Arlen Andrews, which is just a wonder. He is one of our beautiful people that you will see a lot on Ancient Aliens TV show. He does a lot of talks there. He's an expert on the subject. Um, he's going to do a short story writing workshop,
Nice.
and it's going to focus now on science fiction and fantasy. So this is going to be niche because this is his wheel horse, and that's what he said. He didn't want to make it too broad because he don't know romance and he doesn't know, he said, I know science fiction and fantasy, given that he's written it for decades now and award winning. So he is going to do an instructional short story writing. It's going to be 60 minutes. And then this is going to be fun, cool. I've got a cool promo image that I'm going to have Stephen put up on the site that's going to go with this workshop from Mr. Terry or Mrs. I keep wanting to say that Terry is it's a dual. It's a both sexes
Yeah.
names. She, Miss Terry Chambers, is going to do a lovely live performance workshop called A Journey from Concept to Live Performance. She's going to talk about representing historical figures through performance art. She's going to talk about how to research, select your topic step, outline your script step, write the script step, rehearse and refine with props and costuming, and performing and reflecting. So she takes all these different historical figures, and she wanted to do this because she said it's an opportunity for people to perform at different cons, writing conferences, different things they're going to. They can take their writing, they can write a script, they can perform the script. You learn by actually embracing the characters and its historical figures. So I mean, you've got a plethora to choose from, obviously, you know, and it's going to be very, very interesting, and it's going to be 60 minutes.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Terry joining us this year for the first time. And
Yes.
she's fantastic. Let me tell you, folks, that's one not to miss if you are able to make that workshop. She is really good. And so, yeah,
So
check that
that's
out.
the two I definitely wanted to get mentioned. I have a few in the works, but I'm getting ready to go home for a couple weeks, and I've been up here for 2.5 months taking care of my mom. So it's been a full time job and trying to keep up with everything else. I've still been editing. I've still been doing suppressed stuff. I'm grossly behind, but um, people understanding. I've had this life incident happen that I did not plan on.
No, no, God, no. Yeah.
So, I will get back on track, but I've been hammering an Imaginarium as we go, keeping it tippy toppy. But yeah, I'll get my emails caught up and everything uh, by next week.
Yep. Well, and folks, yeah, let her roll into this because I've
Yeah,
put her under strict orders to kind of more or less take a partial staycation, and I'm going to get her out to enjoy a few things. Like she's definitely craving sushi and some other things, so we are going to definitely give Holly some fun when she gets back and let her rest and actually read books and just relax a little bit. So yeah, she will be doing a little bit. So yes, there will be a little bit going on, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a lighter load for her when she gets back because she's definitely been through a lot the past 2 months.
I have.
With that said, we're running just a hair behind, so I want to go ahead and recognize the
I'm
folks
sorry.
who gave you tonight's show. No, no, don't worry, don't worry. It's good to have you back and know you're coming home. But we will give you the two folks that gave you tonight's show, and then I'm going to go immediately to announcing our most awesome guest for the evening. So the two folks that brought you the show tonight are the amazing Sandy Lender, the genre blender, and that fine fellow Ren Garcia. So first, I'm going to give you a little bit from Sandy. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, best wishes again down there in Florida, and yeah, we love you. And yes, give Sandy some support. Pick up her new novel, Silver Bells. Here's a little bit about it.
What happens if you schedule a Krampus movie on the Hallmark Channel? You get Silver Bells from Sandy Lender. The reviews are coming in for this new holiday horror, and readers are loving the mature female lead and the spooky Christmas setting. BestThrillers.com gave Silver Bells a highly recommended rating, saying, through striking visuals, Reindeer Creek reads like a mashup of Washington Irving's haunted forests in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the greed-induced decay of Pottersville in It's a Wonderful Life, and the glitzy electric spectacle of The Great Christmas Light Fight. Grab your copy of Silver Bells by Sandy Lender today.
Highly recommended. Of course, I have mentioned before I've read it. Gave her official blurb to use as she wishes, and yeah, excellent book. And if you don't read horror normally, and like especially if you're like a mystery thriller reader of some other genres like that, I think you find a lot to like in this one, and this might be a nice gateway for you to find some good horror fiction. So give it a shot. And now I'm going to go over to the amazing Ren Garcia with the famous question that he asks at the end. Here we go.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Yes,
You
Ren.
better believe it,
You
Ren.
better believe it. And that's about to get weirder, and maybe in a
Yes, it is.
western, weird in a western sense, maybe. You saw what I did there, Holly. You saw what I did there.
I
And
saw what
yes,
you done.
tonight's guest is a guest that is absolutely Holly and I just adore, and say that very, very proudly up front. We just love him, and he is a Bram Stoker Award-winning editor and author. And he's an author of many genres, and has even had his novel Return of the Mothman made into a feature film. And he is also recognized as one of the best creative writing instructors in the country, and always has incredible workshops going on. And let me tell you, he's got a new project out in Crystal Lake Entertainment's Dark Tide series, Blood and Bullets. And he is one of the three novellas in that one, a trio of Western horror novellas. And if that's not enough, he is the Toastmaster at Imaginarium, and he is also part of the 225 inaugural inductee class of the new Imagination Hall of Fame. And yes, that's right. It's him, the one, the only, Michael Knost. And Michael,
Yes.
welcome to the
What's going
show.
on,
You should be
guys?
live. There he is.
Hey,
It's Knostober.
Not,
Hey,
it is.
hey, I'm going to have to use that. I like that.
I
That's
think you've
pretty
used it
good.
before. I think you've liked that one before. But no, I had to use that one for tonight. And I think that must be the reason unfortunately, the illness bug had to strike you a couple weeks ago, is because they want to make sure that, you got to do a Nostober show
Well,
with
that's
us.
true.
I
We're
was planning.
glad you got better, and
That's it.
and thanks again. That show with James Aquiloni, that was just awesome, and that
Mhm.
night, and yeah, he did on short notice. But yeah, we definitely missed getting to talk to you. So we're glad we finally get to catch up with you and talk about all kinds of stuff. And
Sure.
the book I just mentioned that James is also in, which is a
Correct.
brand new release and represents the weird Western genre, and
Yes.
excited
So
about
how's
that.
that transition? I want to know how has that transition been
Well, it's
for
been
you?
good. Nothing has really come out yet, but you were talking about Blood and Bullets,
Hmm.
which is a trio of Western horror novellas, and I have a story in that James does, and so does Keith Lansdale. And Keith, by the way, is the icon Joe Lansdale's son,
Hmm.
and so. And their stories are just absolutely amazing. They have there's a big list of a series of called the Dark Tide Horror Novellas books, and this one is number 18. This is the newest, latest, I should say, edition, and it's coming out October the 25th. So
Hmm.
it's up for pre-order right now,
Yeah.
and if you
Okay.
go to my Facebook page, you'll be able to find the link, and you can order it. And the book is worth the price of admission just for James and Keith's stories alone. And
And
so,
Nos.
but yeah, I'm happy to be there. Enjoying the spotlight with those guys.
Yeah,
Good fellas.
and it's already getting praise, and even in the pre-order phase I saw
Yep.
a post from James, yeah, from Jim Andrew Clark. I guess he had posted the whole Dark Tide series is great, but I think this is the best one yet. That was posted by Jim Andrew
Nice.
Clark, and James had shared that on his Facebook page. So yeah,
Very
praise
cool.
is
Very
already
cool.
pouring in
I like
for this
him.
new
I
book.
like him a lot. I don't know him. I've never met him, but I like him a lot already. And apparently, he's read James and Keith's stories before he made that comment. So that's good.
Yes, and
Good
you
deal.
also, as you mentioned, is order up for pre-order, and it was already as of a few days ago. Also saw this posted on James's site, but it's number 4 on the Amazon charts. Evidently, the new book. So yeah, you already got some sales motoring toward that release day. So yeah,
Yeah,
congrats.
and I don't know where it is now, but that was a couple of days ago, I think, where it hit that. So
Yeah.
it's I think this is the perfect transition, as Holly was talking about a transition.
Yes.
If there is a transition to where you take someone who has had a long career in the horror industry, and now is looking toward starting to write traditional westerns, which means there's no monsters or scary stuff in it. And so I think this story was a really good transition because um, it's based on the true story of Jack McCall, who was the guy who actually killed Wild Bill Hickok.
Nah.
And so and this is also, by the way, is I've expanded on it, and it's going to be coming out as Trail of Madness, Jack McCall and the Killing of a Legend. That's going to be coming out. And by the way, I did the cover reveal today for that.
Yes, I've seen that.
And oh my gosh, and Johnny D. Boggs he wrote the foreword for it. He's one of my heroes. He's a he's a 9-time Spur Award-winning author, and he's won more than anyone else. And for him to want to do that, that was just incredible. But the neat thing is that story is 100% accurate. of the what we know that happened with Jack McCall and Wild Bill Hickok. Um, but he was known as Broke Nose Jack McCall. He was also known as Crooked Nose, and the reason was is he got hit in the face with a firearm, really bad,
Oh.
and so the story plays off of the fact that speculating of brain damage because of that, and so with that kind of an injury, the reader is left to wonder, is he seeing hallucinations because of brain damage, or is this, a supernatural events that are happening? So hopefully that's what I'm hoping that the reader will, as they're reading it, come to those conclusions of which side it is. But it's uh and because of those supernatural elements, that's where I think the transition is so well, because it still has some of that horror elements to it, but it's still traditional, and I had a lot of fun writing it.
Yeah, the cover is just I love the cover. It is
Yeah,
cool.
that's that is an artist. His name is Andy Thomas, and he is a painter. That's a huge painting, by the way, a real painting on canvas, and
Oh, wow.
he's pretty famous, and that's what he does is he paints so much of the Western genre, and he has stuff from baseball back in the 1800s, and but to get him to do the artwork, and we also have some interior artwork of there'll
Oh,
be 10 characters from the story will be in there sketched, and
ooh.
have an artist who is currently working on that, and Alex McVeigh is who's doing those, and he's phenomenal. And so we also got him to do a sketch of the author, and also Johnny D. Boggs, who did the foreword, and he's already put those together, and so I'm tickled to death with how everything is coming along with this.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I
That
look
that
forward to
is amazing.
And,
I
and by
love.
the way, and I do want to mention too, the connection also that you guys have. Um, Lawless Trails Press is
Mhm.
a brand new imprint uh, that's going to be focusing solely on westerns. Was just started because of Trail of Madness, and Tony Acree is the guy that's behind it,
Cool.
and
Nice.
so it's an imprint of Hydra Publications. So I
Un
couldn't be happier about that either.
Well, both of you are members of the 2025 inductee class of the Imagination Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
definite
One
definitely
of
even
us,
more to celebrate now.
one of us,
This is awesome.
one of the two of us deserves it, and I'm just happy to be there.
Yeah, but
And one of them is
I love
buttered
it.
toast and one's burnt toast.
That's
So
why.
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. There's another connection. That's true because Michael is now Toastmaster, and then Tony was Toastmaster prior for 9 years. So we call him formally Toastmaster Emeritus, and
Mhm.
also, like as Holly said, burnt toast for having done it
Well,
for nine
that's a
years.
reference that came from Tony himself.
Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah,
did. Yes,
yes,
it
it
did.
is most definitely. Yeah, Tony is a character, and I know. Yeah, he was having a surgery. So yeah,
Yeah,
wishing him
sinus
swift,
surgery.
Yeah,
swift
he had
recovery
that
on that.
today, and
And it
apparently
went
he's doing
well,
good.
he said. You know,
Yeah,
he's at
Yeah.
home recovering. So
Mhm.
stay and rest up, Tony.
Yeah, you're listening. Yeah, we
Hey,
definitely love you.
hey, Holly, I want to mention this
Yes.
and put you on the spot here live, but
Okay, go ahead.
you were talking about doing workshops and stuff.
Oh yeah.
If you need somebody to do a workshop, a free one for whatever, I would be happy If you wanted me to do, because you
Of
guys know
course.
I'll do anything for you guys.
Oh, I know. I know. And you know what we've never done is a Western, some kind of
Western, yes.
Western theme. I've done
Mhm.
panels.
We've done
And
panels,
I've never done a workshop though, and I know
right?
there's more and more interest. It's like coming back
Yeah,
around
especially
because
with weird
yeah,
westerns,
it's a
everything. Uh-huh.
weird cycle because years ago, nobody wanted to hear about wrestling or I mean, wrestling. Oh my God, Dewan, I'm so sorry, Moon. I never
Ah,
said
you're
that.
in trouble. You're in
I'm in
trouble now.
trouble. Western,
Western.
Western panels just wasn't that of interest. Now they're very, very attended. I've done them for the past few years, a couple of years, and people love it. And they say, "Yeah, we want more." So I'm like, "Well, Michael's starting to transition over, so I was going to put a bug in your ear anyway." So if you want to churn
Well,
that around a little bit and think
Yeah,
of a good.
and here's the thing: a lot of people don't they don't catch a lot of times the Western genre and the Western um, marks are all over in so many other genres.
oh yeah,
Steampunk
steampunk.
especially.
Yeah.
Steampunk's one.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
but you look at there are certain things that we look at today that are extremely popular, and you wouldn't, and most people don't realize Star Wars. That's a
Yeah,
Western, you
it
know.
is.
Yes, it is.
Um,
It's a space opera and a western.
yeah, I mean, it's a Western,
Yep.
from so many of the motifs, and you even have the black hat, and the cantina, so, the
Mhm.
saloon, and
Yep.
but the Mandalorian, I think, is probably
Yes,
one of the better
Oh, big
westerns that
time.
have been out
agreed.
in a long time.
Yeah,
But yeah,
agreed. 100%.
and maybe that might be something that we could talk about. I remember talking to David, who wrote First Blood, and that's something that he said as well. First Blood was his attempt at a western, and it is a western. It's just set in the 70s, with a guy coming back from war and so forth. And he is absolutely correct. It is a western genre.
Yes.
Hmm. I
Yes,
can
it
see
is.
it.
And
Absolutely.
honestly, who doesn't know the names like Billy the Kid and the Earps and Tombstone and I mean think about it, everybody knows this. I mean from all different age groups,
Yeah.
this spans generations. People know these names, that the legend has went on for hundreds of years now, these legends
Oh,
and
yeah.
Hmm.
these stories have been handed down and told, and there's been so many movies made over the years. And the funny one, when you were talking about the crossovers, I don't know if you've seen this, um but I seen it at the drive-in years ago when it first came out, was Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh, yeah. It was a
Hmm.
great movie.
It
Hmm.
was. I mean, it sounds totally insane, but it was phenomenal. I
But
Oh,
loved that
and
movie.
now that was based on a comic,
mm,
or was it I don't know if it was a graphic novel or a comic series, but it
Not
was that
sure.
that's
mhm.
something that's been
Yeah,
around a
sequential
while.
art project. Yeah. Hmm.
Huh. Yeah,
That's a
it
good
it
one.
was phenomenal. So I love the blending of the genres, and I think in the next 3 to 5 years we're going to see a ton of subgenres come out of westerns like we've never seen before because
Mhm.
like I said, the interest, I'm seeing it, but from all the feedback I get from Imaginarium and different things, so I mean I'm seeing it coming,
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
coming.
telling you there's going to be a ton of subgenres pop up.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
because a
I
lot of
agree.
people. people are not afraid to cross genres quite so much anymore. So
Uh-uh.
yeah, I think
Uh-uh.
you'll definitely see people like making some things
Yep.
with strong Western elements that have elements of
Oh,
other
even
things.
romance. I mean, come
Mhm,
on. It's so fun. Carol Preflat is that she's working on a contemporary Western right now. See?
mhm.
That's what I'm saying. It's crossing over and yeah, even like I said, even a romance. I mean, even romance writers can go this route, you know?
Mhm.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely. Yeah,
just anything, any genre, science fiction especially, which we've talked about. But yeah, I mean,
yeah. I mean,
you
the
could go crazy with it.
The
Yeah.
TV series Firefly. I mean,
Oh yes,
Mhm.
Firefly. Yay.
It's
that
fun.
was a western,
Yeah, it was.
and then you also now you're talking about some of uh the newer westerns. You've got Yellowstone. You've got
Mhm.
Yes.
um, what was the long what was it Longhorn? What was this?
Longmire.
Mhm.
Longmire.
Longmire, yeah, Longmire.
Longmire. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So many,
Mhm.
and there's just so many things that are out there that can do that. So I would love to do that.
Mhm.
I would really
Oh, I
love to
think it'd
do
be
that.
so much fun, Michael, and people would really like to hear that from you. You said you're a champ and well loved. So,
Yeah, and you all
and I
and you
know you're
mentioned.
humble as hell, but it's the truth. I do have a question though coming from the chat room from Moon, D.L. Hearn. He's asking what qualifies a western.
I think there's a lot of different things that you could do it, and you. I think it's not something that you can actually put in a box, so to speak.
Mhm.
I think it's a genre that you can draw off of. Just like you were saying, I have a lot of friends who write romance that are set more in the Western um, type of story,
Mhm.
and there's a whole lot of different things. I tell you what, come to the class, and I will bring that out exactly 100%.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it isn't all saloons and bar fights.
No,
Pew pew pew. It isn't. That isn't all it is. There's so much more
Mhm.
depth to it. That you could qualify it, and just like add any other elements, like with Star Wars or the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, yeah, big time.
Mhm.
He's like, I gotta wait till July. He's like. Yes, Moon, you have to wait till July. You have to go to Michael's class. That's
now
Mhm.
another bonus, guys, of attending
Bonus.
Imaginarium.
Yes.
because you're not
Yes.
going to get it anywhere else.
That's right.
That's the one place.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I am, another thing too is right now, today is Wednesday. So I have today, and then I have, let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I will be finished with the newest novel that I've been writing. It'll be finished Sunday. And
I was going to ask you about that because you've been giving us updates online,
yeah,
and you were
I,
ahead of schedule as I read. You
yeah,
were really
yeah.
really
But you know what
chugging.
that means? You're ahead of schedule, and then all of a sudden you'll see something, and you'll have to, you know,
Yeah.
how that works.
Should I put a comma there or shouldn't I? Looks at it for 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's
uh,
exactly right. But
Yes,
my writing process has changed over the years, and it's really changed on this particular book. I've been an outliner for a long time, and with this project, I am no longer doing it as an outline.
oh, you're a pantser.
Yeah, and well, my theory on it is we're all outliners. Those of us who are pantsers, your first draft is your outline, and then you go from there. So, but I put a limit on myself, and when I say limit, I'm not limiting. I'm stretching, making myself do at least 1,500 words a day. And so 1,500 words a day, if you do that 7 days in the week, you've written 10,500 words in that week.
Hmm.
So in 9 weeks, you've got a novel, and
Hmm.
and so I've got a schedule that I keep. I have a spreadsheet. I keep everything marked down, how many words and where we are. And I'm now I've written this that I'm working on right now. It's it's bigger than anything I've ever done before. So it's about double what I've written before in the
Wow.
past. So and I'm tickled plumb to death with it. It's 100% just traditional Western, and it's
Nice.
also the first time that I have ever written a story in first person. So that's pretty cool
That's
as well.
difficult. It is difficult, and that's why I said anybody who attempts that, God bless them, because I would never even attempt it. I've edited. I just got done editing a first person, and I'm telling you, that's a feat. I mean, it truly is. It's hard to do,
Yeah,
and
you have to.
kudos to you.
Well, we'll see, won't we? Let's hope.
Hey,
But
there's Rose.
I
Well, Rose Machario told me to tell you hello, and she just entered the chat room, and it was actually her novel that, yeah, I just edited that will be coming out with little tidbits for very
Hmm.
soon. But yeah, she did a first person, and she did it well, I will
Hmm.
say. Um, it's hard. It's hard to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thing that you have to be really aware of is you don't want to beat the reader up with the eyes. I did
Hmm.
this, I. And you want to be able to try to also get across everyone else's point of view or points of view, um, but you have to do it from that one, that one point of view, and so it can be difficult to managing all of that at the same time. But I took a here's the cool thing, and you guys will probably love this. The main character is from Kentucky,
There
Aha.
and
you go. There
and
you go.
he goes
Good job.
to the the western. He goes into Kansas and so forth, and that's where the story is. But he's from Kentucky, and so his dialect and so forth is different than a lot of people who are there. And so I play off of that as well. And you guys know I'm from West Virginia, uh,
Yes.
and so West Virginia and Kentucky, we're double first cousins.
Yes,
And
we are.
so our slang and what how we talk and all of that is
And what we eat.
it's exactly the same thing. So it was a little I think it was a little more comfortable for me to be able to do that in a first person point of view and then explain away, because I've had people, other characters commenting and him saying, yeah, I'm from Kentucky, or whatever. And so but I've had a lot of fun. I think I, I think you guys will know, for me to say this is probably a really hard thing for me to say or admit, because I just don't. I'm not that type of person, but I do believe this is the best thing that I've ever written.
Nice.
Really?
Nice. I'm
Wow. And
excited.
yeah, that is something coming from you. That's wild.
So
Well,
That
and
that is cool.
it has a romance in it.
There you
now
go.
let me ask you
All
this,
right.
and I know it's really been on the minds of people. Why, or what was the interest, or why, pros and cons, I mean, from writing the horror genre, which you've stayed in for so long, versus writing the western? I mean, are you having more fun? Does this seem to bring more joy than, writing the horror for so many years? This is like a fresh face, or yeah, what is it that's drawing you to do this?
There are a lot of things that are behind it, and I think one of the things, because, and you guys will understand this whenever I say um, the different things that went into it were, number one, it has to be something that I love. If you're gonna write, you want to do something that you truly love. And I just felt like with horror, I've said what I wanted to say. I've done what I've wanted to do, and I just felt like that with the Western genre, it's untapped for me. I haven't
Uh-huh.
done anything in it, and it's something that I've loved to read. All my life, I've always been a huge fan of westerns. For one thing, True Grit. I read True Grit just about every 4 years. I
See, I've
reread it.
never read the whole thing, and I,
Oh,
I mean, oh God, I would love to. I love westerns. Stephen knows this. I actually love. I grew up watching them with my father, and I grew up watching Bonanza, and I love Bonanza.
me
So yeah,
too.
I've never actually read, True Grit.
Well, the thing with True Grit is the guy who wrote it was not a Western writer. His name is Charles Portis, and so that was his first, and if I'm not mistaken, his only Western.
Really?
And yeah, and it's amazing. It's one of the best things that I've read. I mean, take away genre, overall, it's one of the best books that I've ever read. And
Oh,
so many people look at, and they see True Grit, and the first thing they think of is True Grit. They think of John Wayne, because John Wayne
yes.
played the Rooster Cogburn character in the
Mm-hmm.
first
Right.
movie. Uh,
Mm.
and they think of Rooster Cogburn as being the one with True Grit, and
Uh-huh.
so forth. Um, this book is written in first person point of view from the standpoint of the young girl, and
Oh,
she is the one that has true grit. She is the one that statement is even about. And I think that's where both of these movies miss the mark. And I love both movies. Don't get me wrong. And I'm talking about the newer one too, with what's his name, played the Big Lebowski.
oh,
John Goodman.
oh,
No,
no, no, no, no, no. Played the Big Lebowski, the one that was the Big Lebowski.
Jeff
Oh my God, what is his name?
Jeff.
Hurt.
Jeff something.
Oh gosh.
Bridges.
Anyway, what's that?
I think it's Jeff Bridges.
Yep,
Jeff
Jeff
Bridges.
Yeah,
Bridges.
Jeff
Yep.
Rose
Bridges.
just said
Yeah.
it too. Bridges. Yeah, it's
Jeff
So
Bridges.
Bridges.
so he played the Rooster Cogburn character in the newer movie. I thought both movies were just really great. But at the same time, I just don't think I don't think it's possible for a movie to give you the heart of what the book is. That's just my
Oh
opinion.
no, it never does. And let me ask you this though. You were talking about the young girl being the narrative. Do you think, I don't know if you watched it or not. What was I'm gonna screw up the year, I know, so help me. Me and Steven watched it. I freaking loved it. I'll probably go back and watch the series again. It was Yellowstone. It was the first, it went back to a prequel, so it was like
1883. 1883.
1883.
Yeah,
That's it. It was told from the perspective, the narrator was the young girl in that. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they didn't draw from True Grit to do that.
they may have, because that story is iconic, and I think that also opened up so many other genres as well. As far as being able to use. I mean, up until then, how many female leads, in such a huge novel, in such huge movies, did you see? And not
Right.
only that, but she was an underage girl. She was a kid, in the book. She's, I forget now how old she is in it, and she's the one that has to, get everything done, and
Huh.
she's the one that has that true grit, and she's putting the rest of them, you know, to moving and doing what is needed. And anyway, I think that is just a phenomenal book.
That's neat. That's neat.
And by the way, I want to mention to Rose, since you said that she's on here,
She is.
the I told you that there is a love story in this new novel, and the woman's name that is uh, in that romance in this book, her name is Rose. So
How about
Oh,
that?
no.
That's awesome.
She's like, hi there, Michael.
you're not getting royalties or anything like that from it, okay? So I just want to make
She's like,
sure.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for it. And I noticed also when I did that, I don't know why, but in Return of the Mothman, um, the love interest, the woman that's in that story, her name was Rose as well.
Well,
But it's actually Lena all the way through, but her full name is Rosalina, and we don't. Uh,
nice.
and that was done for a specific reason.
Where
Uh,
Rose is giving us a winky wink, and she says, hey, I can be a Western model. Just saying.
well, if
That's
this
it, winky winky.
if this book goes to become a movie, you should audition. That's what I'll say.
Moon says you'll have to wait until July to find out why.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, Moon, that's funny. And Cheryl P. Flattish says, get those boots and hat ready, Rose. She's like, yeehaw.
Well, could happen. He's already had
Mhm.
one of his novels turned into a feature film, so certainly could happen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I
from
wanted to
from
ask
your
you
lip
just real
from
quick
your lips
about
to
that.
God.
Yeah.
There you go. I know we're on the Westerns, but I just want to throw that in real quick. Where are they in the movie, like streaming? Where can we watch The Mothman?
It's on Amazon Prime, I think. Is that what it's
It
called?
is.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
I
probably.
do know it's on there. I don't
Mhm.
know
Well, then
where
I'll
all
be
else.
watching that when I go home. We're
Yeah,
going to be
well,
watching
definitely. Yeah, we got to see that in streaming when we get
that. Okay.
Holly back after this long hiatus
Mhm,
here.
mhm, mhm. It's been something, but I will say I haven't been up here this long during harvest season in many years. And I have made, you'll like this, Michael, you'll appreciate it. I have made umpteen pints of homemade spaghetti sauce because
Oh,
my cousin's like, I got all these tomatoes. I said, well, bring them to me. He's brought me two 5-gallon buckets full of tomatoes. So I've made spaghetti sauce and all kinds of stuff. And then I was going to make salsa, but Steven didn't bring my jars because the kids loaded the wrong thing in the
Wrong
car.
box. The wrong
But
box.
I did make apple butter. I've canned apple butter
oh.
since I've been up here. So yeah, I got some of that too. So yeah, I have been canning, which I haven't done in a long time since I moved to the city. But yeah, that's been fun. And I'm surrounded by corn.
So that means you can make bourbon.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. That's what I told Steve the other day. He goes, Holly, this corn's brown. I said, well, honey, it has to be brown. I said, they process it. That's what makes your mash for your
That's true.
bourbon.
Well, that is true. Yeah, that is true.
You know,
Field
here
corn.
here in my hometown, it's in Chapmanville, West Virginia. We have every year in September what is known as the Apple Butter Festival. Since you mentioned it,
Yes, I've never got to go, but I would love to come down there.
It's nice. It's just
and do that.
really, really wonderful. And the mayor, his wife, they're friends. I've known them for many years, and
Hmm.
she makes apple butter because that's what they have the big
That is true.
cauldrons and they make it right out, so
Oh
everybody
yeah,
can
in the
see.
fire. Hmm.
And so she makes it every year. And I made the comment one time. I said, just joking around, that
Hmm.
I'd like to have some bourbon flavored um, apple butter sauce. And so,
Ooh.
and all of a sudden this year, I get a jar of the
Nice.
homemade apple butter that is bourbon flavored. And so,
Wow.
I, if that lasts until Imaginarium, ha ha ha, it won't. Uh, if it does, I will bring it in that way to let you guys taste it. And everybody who's on here right now, you'll get a taste as well. I don't know how many's on here, Lord. I may have just put
Yeah,
my
you
foot
might have
in
to bring.
my mouth.
Yeah. By the time we post all the platforms and all those listeners, yeah, you might have to make a big batch.
Yeah,
But
I'll just show
I,
you
I
a
would
photo of
definitely.
it.
I have never thought about adding anything like that. So now you've got me started. So now I'm going to have to think about this because
I'm telling you, it is
ooh,
delicious.
that would be easily done.
uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
mean, I could do that. I could tweak it and do
Yep.
that.
And
Well,
I'm here to
apparently
test it.
they have. Apparently they have. It's a flavoring that is bourbon flavored that
Uh-huh.
you can buy. I didn't know
Yes, you
this.
can. You can. You can. It's concentrated, so you only have to, you adjust it to whatever taste level you want or how big of a batch you're doing. I do want you to ask her something though, Michael. If you remember, I because I lived in an Amish community for over 2 decades. That's where I raised Noah and Diana, my children at. Um, when I helped them every year, they would use a silver dollar. I'm not talking right silver, pure silver dollar. He'd throw it in the bottom of the cauldron, Levi would, and that's how he would cook his apple butter. For whatever reason, he said this it is not the same without the silver.
Hmm.
Now, don't ask me why. I don't understand it, but he said it kept it from sticking and it added the flavor. He said it's not the same without the silver dollar.
Well, if his name is Levi, he definitely is, from the Amish group. So, and he would
Yes.
know. I've never heard that before, but I will ask her. And there's a lot of old timers around here. They take their apple butter really serious around
Well,
here.
I guarantee you they've heard of that. You mentioned the silver dollar in the bottom of the cauldron. They'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
And because that's just interesting to me
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I don't know the science behind. I don't know if there is, but it's like one of those old things that the old timers do, and
Yeah.
by God, it's good. And whatever they're doing, don't don't change it because it works, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've never done it that way myself, because I've never done it outside. The only thing I done outside over the years was when I used to make my pickled beets. Because when the kids were still at home and I lived down in the Amish country, I grew a huge garden every year and I canned everything. But I would use a big pot over my open fire outside, and that's how I would cook my beets. Because you've got to skin those suckers and you got to
Yeah.
cut the tops and all that crap. So instead of getting it all over your kitchen, and plus you got to cook it for so long and it's hotter than fire, you know, you do it outside. And that's about the only thing I really cooked outside, that way. But yeah, I'm just curious to see if they'd use the old silver dollar method.
And the reason why, that's something too, because I know my grandmother would make um cabbage rolls for New Year,
Ooh,
and she would put coins in them. And of course some people say that it could poison you or whatever. I don't know. But I remember she would do that, and it was for luck. That was
aha.
that was something that they did. So I don't know. That may be what you're talking about with with the apple butter
That's
too.
possible. Well, what kind of coins did she use?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I can't remember. I just
I'll have
remember
to ask
eating.
Tom about that
I
because
just
see,
remember eating and my grandma going, "Now be careful, don't you swallow any coins."
ah, well, I'm going to
Nice.
ask Mom about that because my Phillippe family are from down yonder,
Yeah,
and their roots started when they immigrated over in your territory, and that's why we talk about food, and we eat a lot of we were raised on a lot of similar food. And Stephen's like, what in the world? And we're like, yeah, me and Michael's got this big talk about all the food that we love,
exactly right.
grew up on. But yeah, my Phillippe clan down there, mom's 89, she'll be 90 in February, and she lived with them, my grandmother and grandfather, for many years while dad was in the military. So I'll have to ask her about that with the cabbage rolls and the coins
Well,
and see if they did that.
I'll
That's
find out
curious.
about the silver with the apple butter and
Yeah, that's curious.
because they do it the old fashioned way. I know
Yeah,
that. I mean, they have, like I said, the big
the
huge
cauldron.
cauldron kettle,
I do
and
too. I got one at home, but
they
yeah.
have the big campfire that it's on,
Mhm.
and they have they have parties, and they have this huge. It looks like a big broom, like a push broom, and
Yep.
it has the certain thing on the bottom, and it's stirring. And
Yeah.
the party is you come and you get to eat, and everybody has uh, a chance at stirring, and so
Yes.
it doesn't stick to the bottom and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's a huge thing here.
Teamwork makes dream work, and you're adding the love of a community.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what they believe. There's a love of a community in every jar. And I always found that great. Did you ever go to a chicken killing just out of the blue? Did you ever go to one of those? I've never asked you that.
I've never went to one, but I can tell you this: I've been around my grandmother doing it many times.
Okay. Where that's what the Amish would use. They'd have a big old cauldron out there with boiling water. And after they cut their heads off, they run around the yard for a while. Wherever they drop, they pick them up. But they dunk them in that hot boiling water and then pick the feathers off
Yeah,
for us women that would sit at a big long table and then cut it up into pieces. But yeah, I was wondering if you ever been to one of those. It's quite interesting.
yeah. It was a whole different world back then, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. But they still live that way. That's
Yeah,
the curious thing. And I loved living out there. It's just you are so removed from civilization. I mean, I can't do what I'm doing now and live out there. But
right.
yeah, it was a great place to raise the kids, and it gave them some good values. It kept them off of drugs. Put it that way. There,
No,
yeah, we were too
they
far
thought
removed.
yeah they thought that they were on drugs during all that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
right, right.
drugs didn't compete.
No, no, I'm telling you. And little Raven, because Dinah had her young, and little Raven used to me and my best friend Lavina that used to live next door. Me and her would take turns babysitting. We'd be working out in the garden. If I was mowing grass, she'd be over there in her little outdoor playpen under the shade tree, and Lavina would keep an eye on her while she working in the garden. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a community, which is how people used to live,
Oh
which will
yeah.
go all the way back to the Western era. It ties in because that's what people did in those small towns.
Oh yeah.
They worked together.
Yeah. I I remember growing up on a holler, and we all went to church at certain churches,
Hmm.
and I got in trouble. I got my hind end busted, by one of the holler moms or the
Oh
church
yeah.
moms.
Mhm.
Um, and God, please don't let them tell my mama or my dad when I got home,
No, don't
what
get
I.
it again.
Yeah, even worse.
Uh huh.
Um,
Oh yeah. And you get in trouble because it was a community effort. And I always say it's still, it takes a village. and it still takes a village to be in the creative world too. It passes on. Um, I know a lot of people are isolated in today's world, but yeah, it still takes a village.
Yeah,
So,
agree. And I do my part because it also takes a village idiot, and that's me. That's what I do.
Ah, no,
You're welcome.
no.
no.
Hey, can I mention something real quick? Would it be
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
We got a few minutes.
where I do the workshops,
Yes.
Yes,
I
I was
have
going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, you have one going on.
I have one seat that is available, and it's going to be coming up in
Ooh,
May.
Mhm,
And this is with Anne Vandermeer, she's a legend. I mean, an icon in the science fiction fantasy
mhm,
field. She's the acquiring editor for Tor.com and
nice.
Yep.
Weird Fiction
Mhm,
Review, and she's won Hugo Awards and Bram Stoker and Shirley Jackson Awards and World Fantasy Awards um,
mhm. Oh yeah.
and she and her husband have done a whole lot of books. The Time Traveler's Almanac and all kinds of different things. And her husband, by the way, Jeff, he is the New York Times bestselling author of the Southern Reach series, which I think the first book, Annihilation, I believe it is, that was made into the big major motion picture with Natalie Portman.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yep.
so I have one seat, and it's a short story workshop, and anybody that would be interested, I can you can get in contact with me on the Facebook or whatever, and I can. It's actually a workshop and retreat, and by the way, Stephen and Holly, you guys have been there. It'll be in the same place. You
Oh
know how
man,
beautiful it is.
lovely place. Yeah,
Great.
folks, if you don't take advantage of that, I tell you what, that is one of the funnest weekends that Holly and I have ever had when we joined Michael and Tim Wagner and a
Oh my
great
God.
group. Yeah, and by the way, Rebecca
Made
Cuthbert
some
is
lifelong
coming.
friends,
Is
I do believe.
Rebecca
Yeah.
Cuthbert is coming next summer, by the way,
I'm
to
so excited.
Imaginarium.
Oh my God.
But
I got my fellow wino.
speaking of that weekend, yeah, of course, Ed Downs was there last year, and that was
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's coming back.
Nessa Brown and yeah, definitely
Yeah.
hope to see some of the others. But that was just such a fun weekend. I mean, you will learn so much.
Yeah.
There's just great camaraderie. The what you get is truly constructive in every way. I mean, it's delivered in just the right way and was designed to help you. And I can't say enough about how much pleasant and productive that weekend it will be for you. Yeah, if you sign up for that. So yeah, jump on that, folks.
I
That's an
had
opportunity.
I had someone tell me that they went through it, and they wrote me a note, and they said, I just want you to know that I learned more from these 2 days than I did in an MFA that I went to college
Mhm.
for. And I wrote them back. I said, "Well, you're just being kind. Thank you. That's very." And they were like, "No, you're. I'm very serious." It was like a master class, and the thing is, it's personal, and you guys know there are very few people that are there. So with this one,
Mhm.
there'll be 6 people. You'll be with 5 other people, I think is how I've got it set. And so you bring in your short story, and we're going to we're going to read your story, and we're going to give you the professional feedback. And that's going to be Anne Vandermeer is going to be doing it as well.
Mhm.
And so that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. But anybody that is interested, uh, just let me know. And it's a first come, first serve type of thing.
And even better is, those that place you got the sausage biscuits from, the most legendary sausage biscuits I have ever had. I think.
Tutors. Yeah.
That's, that's
Tutors. That's a West
oh,
Virginia. Uh,
so good.
that's a
And
Oh
West
we
my
got
Virginia.
god.
one in Lexington now, but we've not went.
Yeah, we do have one here, and as soon as Holly gets back, yeah, we're gonna make sure we
Well, it's
catch
kind
up
of
with
like
some of that.
it's kind of like bourbon. If bourbon is, made outside of Kentucky, it's not really bourbon. And
Right.
so
Right.
I think Tudors, if you've got it outside of West Virginia, yeah,
No,
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm sure it's good.
No, we'll
I
we'll
don't know.
definitely come
Stephen
back.
loved it. He still
Yeah.
talks about that dang sandwich. He loved it.
I made a big mistake because I got two of them on the first day, and it was way too much. I thought it was
They're
two
huge.
sausage biscuits, not a big deal. You get it some places. Nope. Yeah, bad mistake.
We growing up, my grandma used to call them cat head biscuits, and
Yeah.
that's what we call those. They're
Well,
huge.
Oh my God. Yeah, they were
they are
enormous. But
big.
yes, folks, you can probably take advantage of those while you're there as well. So yeah, we're just going to give you every selling point there is, and yeah, it's a great environment, and
Well,
the
you would
facility
never,
you have it at is just phenomenal. That
yeah,
place is just so cozy, so
and
nice.
and you would get the tutors because we do the breakfasts and with what you pay, we your food and everything is covered for the
Yeah.
whole time you're there. So you would get the breakfast.
Yeah.
And we and you get to order
Mhm.
what you want. We go and get it. My wife, God love her, she's one of the most amazing uh, humans that you will ever meet in your life.
Yes,
Yeah, she is.
yes, she
Without
is.
her, I wouldn't be able to do the events. But so she goes and gets all the stuff, and we eat good. Now that's
Yes.
one thing.
Yes, you do.
I,
Yeah, we
I
was
ain't
not hungry.
We
I
are
ain't a
never
fat
hungry
man
that
for nothing.
weekend.
Okay, I am not a fat man for nothing. I'm telling you right now, we we eat good.
Never
That is
trust
true.
a skinny chef.
Exactly.
No, but yeah, folks, it is great. And so you did mention for as far as contacting you, though, that's a good segue for this. Yeah, folks do want to become part of the workshop, or following your new all these great new releases coming out, Trail of Madness, also Blood and Bullets, the new trio of westerns.
Oh yes. And
Your next
and
project.
talking about since people have weaned away from nano, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Talk about real quick what you're
Oh
doing
yeah,
to help people with that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look and see what it is that I called it now because I can't remember.
I remember
But
you coined the term Nostober though, and I loved it. I loved it.
Nostober, no,
Yeah.
Nostovember.
To
That's
yeah,
what it
that's
was.
a no
Not
November.
Timber. That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Nostovember, Nostovember, and
That's
yeah.
it.
basically and it's free, and it's just a Facebook group, and it's challenging people to stretch themselves. And so we're just supporting one another. We're pushing each other and cheering each other on. And I my the whole thing that I'm doing is I'm saying, here's what I do. Um, you know, Challenges to write 1,500 words every day from October the 1st to November the 30th, all the way through.
Mhm.
And you at the end you'd have 91,500 words total. So
Mhm.
you and
And and if you'd have to take a day off, it's okay to make it up the next day.
yeah, and I've had to do that a couple of times during
Uh,
this process. And but and if you can't do the 1,500 words, you know, if you say
okay.
I only got 900 words, we're going to be cheering you on and telling you, hey,
Right.
it's great. You're
Send
moving
the
forward.
paper.
Because the thing is a lot of times people think there's no way that I would be able to write 1,500 words in a day. And I was one of those people for a very long time. But the moment that I made myself this schedule, um, I I was able to sit down and focus. And
Mhm.
I think I've written some of the best stuff that I've ever written. So um,
Fantastic.
and I am no different than anyone else. Anybody else could, to be able to do it. But the thing is to stretch yourself, to make yourself do something that you are completely uncomfortable with, and not give up, and just try.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And
Just give it a whirl. you
And so
know.
you mentioned the Facebook group, and then, like I said, to
Mhm.
also for the finding you for the workshop and also the new releases. Could you give, some info on how folks can find you online, just to be, direct them properly?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, obviously under Michael Knost, Knost. Um, and then I'm also you can find my website, which is michaelknost.com. And on that, you can go to the books and you can find, and also there are classes, and you can order any of the books up to date for up until I think it's Writer's Workshop of Horror 2.
Mm,
So Return of the Mothman, Writer's Workshop of Science Fiction and Fantasy. You guys know all about that one.
Uh-huh.
And so there's so many, if you wanted any of the books, you can be able to order them from there, and
yeah,
it'll go to Amazon or wherever it is. It's not, you know, it's not from here. And then I have classes, and there are videos of classes that I've done in the past. And if you decide that you would like to order those, the show Don't Just Tell, which I think is probably one of the most popular things that I've ever taught. And because I'm convinced that most people don't know the difference between showing and telling, and that's one of the things that I love about doing this class. And I always ask, before doing the class, um, what I'll do is I'll read something and I'll say, is this sentence showing or telling? Is it a showing sentence or a telling sentence? And always, like 95 to 99%, and sometimes 100%, get it wrong. And a lot of these people have been writing for years. And so by the time that they're finished with the class, they'll know beyond a shadow of a doubt what the difference is, because it's real simple. Uh, and what I do is I use um, announcers from sports announcers, and to show you the difference between the two. And then what we do is we go from sports into showing you in fiction the differences as well. So,
nice.
but that's on there, and there's a lot of different things, weaving multiple narratives, and um, importance of tone and voice, and creating characters that readers connect with, and creating good characters even if they're not good people, which I think
Mm,
a lot of people overlook. Dialogue. There's just a lot of different things like that, and you
absolutely.
can also get to see the cover of the new book, Trail of Madness. It's
Yes,
on there as well.
it's beautiful. And I
Yeah.
do want to ask you one last. This is a little deep because I've never heard you really touch on this. And I keep getting Facebook ads for it. It's, oh my god, it just makes my skin crawl. Um, the AI aspect of writing books. I keep getting this ad over and over and over, and it's just making me so mad about, oh, I wrote my husband a book and I didn't even have to write a word. And AI did it for me and blah blah. And I'm like, oh boy. So what would be like your quick um I guess feedback on that or encouragement for someone who's writing that wants to just throw in a towel and say, "Well, the heck with it," because I'm never going to be seen because of AI. What would your response be to that?
Well, AI is probably going to get better, but as it is right now, as a writer, you can take uh, you can take a lot of humbleness and happiness in knowing that right now, people who use AI to write, the stories are horrible. They're terrible. And so there's no, they're not competition for me. And I'm not saying that I'm
Right.
a great writer or anything like that, but
A lot better than that.
But I think the biggest issue that I have, the very biggest issue that I have, is knowing, and I do know, I have books and so forth, that these AI um, computers that are generating these stories are using my work. They're using Tim Wagner's work. They're probably using Stevens. They're using so many other things that are available, and they're stealing our stuff, and we're not getting paid for any of that.
Right.
And so, if the computer can create its own words, but it can't. It has to have something that teaches it,
Mm-hmm.
and and it's learning, and it's using my words. It's using Stephen's words, and Stephen King's, and um, you know all the writers that are out there, and we're not seeing anything from this. And so basically, if you're using AI to write stories, um, it's not harmless. You're stealing from me. You're
Mm-hmm.
stealing from um, other writers who make a living, and so that's my whole. And also, the same thing goes with art. If you're using AI to create art, um, the art that is being created, there are pieces of art that's all over the internet from real artists that it's being stolen,
Right.
to create that particular art. And that's why, the artwork that you see on Trail of Madness, like I said, I know the guy who has done that. That's a real painting, and I want to support um, real artists. I want to support real authors. Um, I also think that the heart of the stories from AI, they have no heart. Um, Anybody can, throw together um, words, but I don't want a word salad. I want a story. I want something that means something to me, and
Exactly.
so I think that's I think that, but the and I'll just stop because I get so upset, when I hear people act like that it's that there's no one being harmed, and I keep saying, yes, I'm being harmed.
Right.
It's stealing my work to create
Mm-hmm.
work that you're saying is yours, and you didn't write it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the whole LinkedIn thing. I've not left LinkedIn because, my gosh, I have like 8,000 followers, and I meet so many interesting people there, but apparently they're grabbing work to create AI. And I don't know. I don't know if you've heard about that or got into that yet, but yeah, I'm watching it closely because I don't share a whole lot there. I don't share anything personal, obviously, because it's all business. But I do love LinkedIn for now. But yeah, I think it's AI definitely is going to get smarter. It keeps we're feeding the beast, right? It's going to keep stealing from creatives. It's taking jobs. Lionsgate is already using it in its films to rid of its graphic artist because it can get rid of storyboard
Well,
artists. It can
they're
get rid of
training. Yeah, they're training on
they're
their entire
training the
catalog right now.
AI, yeah, to
Yeah.
do the work of this so they
Mhm.
can save all this money. But you're losing the human aspect.
Yep.
That's the thing.
But there are AI um, there are AI things that are out there that I don't think are as bad, but I still think that they're being used. They're still taking away work from other people, And what I mean by that is, if you look at on Photoshop, Adobe has an AI, and what you can do is you can if you have a photo, for instance, if you had a photo of me and you put uh, highlight it and you tell it you want me to be standing in a field with a dog sitting next to me, boom, it will create it, and it will look like I'm literally in a field with a dog, and that's how the photo was taken, and it looks great.
That's freaking creepy
It is.
because think about that in the whole 1984
Yeah.
aspect.
But but the
Propaganda.
thing that I kind of don't have a problem with Adobe by doing this is they only use their art and their uh, material, who they are
Okay.
paying people to be able to use. So uh, the people who create the art or the photos or whatever that are being used for this, for, in other words, the field, the background, the
To
dogs and
train, yeah, to train it, yeah, the AI.
all of that, Adobe owns. They've bought, uh,
Hmm.
from people who actually created it. So people are getting paid for that, and I don't necessarily have a problem if um, I'm able to use something like that and knowing that I didn't take jobs away from someone, or more along the lines of, all of these pieces that I'm using, I've paid for, and Adobe has paid for, uh,
Right.
to be able to use. So
Uh-huh.
uh,
Right.
it's just weird right now with so many different levels.
It is. And technology is moving so fast now. And even I just tried it. I keep seeing it on Meta on Facebook. The other day I wished Metal Beck happy birthday, Metal Beck. Yesterday was her birthday. I typed in she loves the Gilmore Girls, right? So it says make an AI image now. You can do that. So I'm like, okay, Gilmore Girls birthday. And so it showed like a Gilmore Girls living room and had a birthday cake. And I'm like, well, this is for wishing her a happy birthday. It's no big deal. Nobody's losing jobs over it. Blah blah blah. I could easily take a picture off of Pixabay. That's free. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to try it. So I did it, and yeah, here it showed this image, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But yeah, in instances like that, yeah, I don't see a problem. But when you're using it for cover art or different things like that, I mean,
Yeah,
y-
yeah,
back in the day, we had to use Photoshop, like Rose was saying. She'd rather have a photographer actually cut and paste her image somewhere. you know, Photoshop is going to be a thing of the past in a few years because, well, AI is just going to do it and do it for you. You're just going to plug in, I want this and this and this, and here you go. So that's not even going to be needed, which is just a fact. I mean, it's just the way it's going to be, and we have to adjust to that. But with the writing, I mean, they're taking the works of, Scott Fitzgerald. They're taking the works of, all of our old Mark Twain, all of, and the current, like you guys. And they're just feeding the beast. And eventually they're going to get better.
yeah,
Like you said, Michael, they're going to get better.
because they're
And
going to be stealing more.
that's it. And they're
Yeah,
going to be stealing more. And that's unsettling. And, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear your take on it because it's a coming. The
yeah.
beast is coming,
One
and
one
getting through it is going to be tough.
one thing that we probably we may end up seeing is there's going to be a disclaimer for many products, for instance, books and
Yeah.
so forth, that will say, a portion of this book um, um, was written or produced using AI or something like that. And
Right.
so And then probably what may happen, because if the laws go into that, then your publishers will probably start just using that and saying it, no matter what, because they don't want to take a chance of getting sued. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but but
Copywriting.
but yes, copyright laws do apply, but not to the AI, uh, companies that are using them. But they're not adhering to it.
Mhm.
And so that's why you have a lot of well, yeah, and it should, but
It should.
how do you how do you find out, what works that they're using? How do you?
That's what sucks because they're literally stealing and getting by with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Um,
theft.
but there are some lawsuits that are out right now, and that are being pushed by some very big names,
Good.
authors, and so
Mhm.
hopefully we'll get to see, something of that. But
Yeah,
who
like
knows?
the
Yeah,
modern
because I
day
don't
kind of
understand how they could just.
Napster lawsuit, like the
Yeah, I
modern
don't
day
see how they can
version of
dispute
Napster.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if one of us did that, if I stole any of your work, or if I plagiarized any of Van Rice's work, my ass would be grass, and it should be the same way for AI. Period.
Mhm.
I agree. Hey, by the
Hmm.
way, I was talking about my website and everything. I don't think I gave my email address, and let me give that to
Please
you
do.
real quick. This is my personal email. It's Michael Knost at me.com, me.com.
All right.
And Knost again is Knost. It's not my
Yep.
real name, by the way. That's just a pen name. My real name is Collins. That's my real last name. Stephen and Holly knew that, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
You will.
everybody
You
can.
will. But you will find him between Dean Koontz and Stephen King on the
That's
bookshelf,
right.
folks. That's right.
which is the reason why I chose Nost to
That's
begin
right.
with. Yeah.
But see, now I'm tempted. Now that I heard about the Adobe AI stuff, I want to make that picture of you standing on top of a West Virginia mountain, holding your Bram Stoker Awards with your pet
Yes.
mountain lion at your side.
Make me skinny, okay? That's all I ask.
Yeah,
I do
svelte
want to
Michael
mention
Knost
real quick,
with his pet
Michael.
mountain lion.
Oh, go
Yes,
ahead. With these pet mountain lion, hell yeah.
yes.
But I do want to mention, I seen it today. I ran across it, Michael. I don't even know if you know it exists, but there is a board game, and now I forget the name of it, but I'll find it again. I want to buy it, but there's a board game where you go around and you try to win the Bram Stoker Award. That's the whole thing. It's built around the Bram Stoker. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
have you seen this ad? I mean seriously, it is a real board game,
that is
and
awesome.
you literally that's the goal of the game is to win the Bram Stoker Award.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that the HWA actually, have given the copyrights for that. So, and they're being paid royalties for that as well. So the
Yes,
the
Nice.
organization is actually making money from that. And from what I understand, there are questions that are in it too. And from what I understand, I think I'm in a couple of the questions.
that's what I was
Nice,
wondering. I was going
nice.
to ask you. I have to
That is
buy this
awesome.
game now,
Now I've
Stephen.
got to
We
get it.
must
Now I've
play this.
got to get it. Yeah,
We
we've
need
got
to
to get
get you
that
up to the house. We need to buy some good bourbon,
and
have a
play this
few
game.
drinks, and play this game.
This would be
Well,
yeah.
that would be a lot of fun, but you probably should get somebody that really knows how to win the award. So, because that way.
Hey, we might be able to get. Hey, we might be able to get John Palisano because he does not live far from us. He's
That's
actually
true.
very close to
And he's a
Lexington,
crazy fellow. He
and
would join
he's
us.
awesome. Yeah.
He
And
is.
he's won the
Yes.
Bram Stoker,
Right.
Yes,
That's
he
what I'm
does.
saying. We could get at least two of you here.
and
So.
he
Yes.
was he was also the president of the
Mhm,
organization at one point as well.
that's right.
Moon said he's in it for the bourbon. Well, come on, Moon.
All
Come
right.
on. Try
gonna
to win
happen.
that award. That's what we're going for.
Well, what
You
a
know
good
what?
note.
I don't know if I've met Moon or not, but I really like him. I mean,
Oh, he's
You
one of the
will
best.
love Moon. You probably have in passing, but yeah, we'll definitely have to have you shake hands. I'll have to get a picture
Yep.
with you both. But yeah, the
Yeah.
anybody
Moon
anybody
is
that has a
awesome.
love for bourbon like that, you know,
He
I'm
does.
gonna have a
Oh,
love.
he does. He
He
knows
does.
his stuff. He knows his stuff. Yeah.
And he's a fine fellow. He walks in, everybody's like, Moon. He's very
Yep.
prompt.
Big cheers go up.
He
Yep.
said, You probably have. And Rose says, How do you win that? Well, Rose, I don't know. I've not played the game. How do you win? Let me ask you this though. How do you win a Bram Stoker Award? What is I mean, seriously, how do you win? What's the qualifications? Where do you join to do this? Or do you? Are you personally
HWA.
nominated? Let's fill in the audience real quick.
Well, I've won twice. The first time I
Mhm.
won was in 2010, and I went to England to for the award ceremony, and knew that I was not going to win. I absolutely knew that I was not going to win. I was up against two Stephen King books. My book was, and it was Writer's Workshop of Horror, the original.
Mhm.
And so the second one was a couple of years ago, and it was in Denver. But
We watched that one online. Yeah, that
Yes,
was
we did.
great.
We watched it live.
Uh-huh.
and the whole concept comes down to is people. Um, I don't want to say nominate. What they do is they recommend. There's a recommendation period, and then you also have judges. And the judges, and they're two different parts to it. And so the judges, uh, publishers or whoever could send the book, and the judges would read, and then they would move it on forward to be nominated, and that would be on the long list. Is what it comes down to, what they call the long list, and it may be 10 to 15 books in each category, and also those that are recommended, which means you have a number of people who have read the works, and they've read the works, and they turn it in to the organization saying, "Hey, this book is great, and it really should be, nominated for the Bram Stoker Award." And so all of those together, when they finally make it to the long list, um, then what happens is all of the active members, and these are the people who've been in it for a while. They're professional writers. They get paid X amount of money, to be in the. Let me back up. They don't pay to be in that. What I'm saying is um, they're paid for the works that they create, and they make an X amount of money, and they've published X amount. That's what makes them qualified to be an active member as a professional writer. And so those folks uh, will go. They will vote on what is known as the preliminary ballot. And so on the preliminary ballot, you may have 10 to 15 books in each category, and then the everyone who are active members will vote, and it will come down. And I think it's 4 or 5. I can't remember, that make it as a nominee. So at that point, you've become nominated by the group, and that is what is considered the short list. And so when you make it there, to me, because I've won twice, but I've been a nominee several times. And to
Hmm.
me, being a nominee is just as great as winning. And the reason that I say that is because, your peers, the people who, they make their living at this, they're the ones who are saying, hey, this is one of the top 4 top 5 books in the world. And to me, that you're winning no matter what, whether you take home the trophy or not. But and so that's the short list, and at that point you become a nominee, and then it goes to the vote again, and you can only vote for one, and so then that's how they get the winners of each category.
Nice. Yeah.
Wow. So
But
yeah, it goes through it's layered.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
and
It's definitely layered.
what was really cool is the books that they go through the judges, and then also going through the recommendations, and so everything goes into the same place. So no matter how your book shows up, um, all of it goes to the same place, and then the the members of the acting members are the ones who actually vote whether or not whoever wins. In other words,
So
so
can Tom, Dick, and Harry recommend a book? I mean, can you
only
recommend a book to them?
only members can
Only
recommend.
members.
And
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
but you could, I think it's an associate member, which are the lower memberships, and these are people who cannot vote, but they can recommend the book. They could
Mm-hmm.
they can
Okay.
they can make recommendations, but you do have to be a member. You do not have to be a member for a book to be recommended or nominated or even win. So,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So
and,
yeah,
and,
it works a
and
little different. It's not just like an award where you recommend you enter your book. This is something you have to be recommended. So you have to, talk to someone who's in that organization and have them, view your book, take a look at it if they if they have time, um, or someone who's come across your book that's in the organization to actually recommend it.
yeah, um, I've never done that. It's always it's always come up.
Uh-huh.
Um, um, I guess not wanting to do that. I've always wanted to just let the work stand for itself, and so
Exactly.
people. So I've never asked anyone to recommend. I've never pushed it or anything like that. So it's come up. I
Let
feel
it do
more.
naturally.
Yeah,
Hmm.
let it happen naturally. Because look, if it's not worth, or if it's not worthy of it, I don't want it. And
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
so that way, to me, it means something to me. When I do win, that I haven't pushed for it. I haven't campaigned or anything like that. Which
Right.
I'm sure happens. You see that in the Oscars and so forth. But I'll tell you a real quick story. There was we were at the Bram Stoker Awards where Return of the Mothman was nominated, and it was nominated the same time that Josh Mallerman's oh
Bird box.
Bird
yeah,
box.
Bird
Bird
Box,
box.
same time, and so ours was competing, and Cronenberg, the director,
Director. Yeah.
he had a book at the same time, so all three of ours, and there was another one, and so I just knew that Josh's book was going to win because it was phenomenal. But neither one of us won, and it wasn't even Cronenberg. It was another one, which was a great book. Don't get me wrong, but I'll never forget. Charlene Harris was there, and I'm sure you've heard of Charlene
Oh
Harris,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
and she's an icon. I mean, she's a legend, and she's like a grandma. She did. If you would see her, you would never know. And that's not even her real name. And of course, I'm not going to mention her name. But when I first met her, we were getting ready to go in, and she came over and she said, um, I was with Lisa Morton, who was the president of the HWA at the time, very good friend. And Lisa said, "Come over. I want you to meet her." And I said, "Okay." So I went over, and as soon as I did, Charlene read my name tag, and she said, "Oh," she said, "I loved Return of the Mothman," and I about crapped my pants.
Oh,
Charlene Harris is talking about my book,
right,
and I said, also, "Oh, okay," and she said, "Well, you do know." Oh, I said, "Well, you know that it's being nominated for the award tonight." And she said, "Oh, I know." She said, "I was a judge uh, for that category." So she'd read it from that, and I said, and whenever you don't know what to say at something
right.
like that, so she said she read it, and she was on the committee for the awards, and I said, it just came out, and I said, "Oh," I said, "I hope you liked it," because I didn't know what else to say. I was just so bumfuzzled,
Right.
and she said, and it was to me was one of the greatest compliments. She said, "It's on the ballot, isn't it?" And I was like, "Can
Oh,
I just hug you right now?"
Nice. Oh,
that
that's
is
awesome.
awesome. That is truly awesome. Yeah, because she's a icon now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
without
That
a
may
Absolutely.
be that may be another one that we talk to, for a future
Yep.
uh, guest.
yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well,
That's where
That'll
we're
that'll bring.
leading to.
Okay, I'm getting ready to give you a dad joke uh,
Go
uh,
ahead.
pun, I should say. She will bring some true blood to the Imaginarium. You're
yeah.
welcome. You're welcome.
Nice.
Nice.
Well done. Well played.
You've been nosted.
We've been nosted.
Fantastic.
Oh man.
So great series, by the way,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Loved it.
Well, but thank you, Michael. This has been just a great conversation tonight. I have had a blast, and always good to have a this visit with you, conversation, and definitely hope to see you in person sooner than later. And but yeah, thanks for hanging out with us tonight and making Nostober even better.
Hey, it's my pleasure, and I wanted to before, but being sick and I had no voice.
Right?
So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that James was able to do it, and
Oh, it
by
worked
the
out
way,
great.
he told me that he loved it and was real happy to be able to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
He's
want to have James back. He was
yeah.
amazing.
We love him.
We had
He was
such a fun show.
fun show. That worked out really well, and
Mhm.
yeah, glad we got to reschedule you and definitely yeah, best on this western journey you're taking. Wow, I mean, lots of good projects yeah coming down the pike. Yeah, the new novel, Blood and Bullets, Trail of Madness. Yeah, westward we go.
That's exactly right.
But I'll turn it over to Holly to close it out with you. But yeah, thank you, Michael. We love you, and definitely we'll be in contact with you.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sorry we kept you on here longer than
Yeah.
expected, but you are the nasty, and we have
Oh,
to.
I'm perfectly fine.
Is there anything we didn't touch on or that you wanted to say before we signed out of here?
I do want to say this to everyone that's listening. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's right. That's right. And you've got all your web links. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Michael?
Michael Knost at me.com. That's my email.
There you go, people. Thank you for being a wonderful guest, and we love you, and there's nothing you can do about that. You know better.
I wouldn't even try.
You have a great night. And yeah, we will definitely be having you back in a few months.
Exactly.
All right, darling. Good night. And to our listeners and our listeners that listen to the playback, join us next Wednesday for another great guest, another great talk. And for the rest of the week, be creative, make something beautiful. Good night.